526 with you.
Orbit 526, Glasgow approach. Good morning. Reduce speed to 210 knots. Expect vector for the visual approach, runway 23 at Glasgow. Glasgow altimeter 29902.
Slowing to 210 and we'll expect the visual for runway 23, orbit 526. Bring the thrust back to about 50% N1, then adjust it to maintain 210 knots. Since the weather's good, the controller will line us up with the runway and give us clearance to proceed visually once we have the runway in sight.
Orbit 526, descend and maintain 3000.
Descend and maintain 3000, orbit 526. Okay, we've got clearance to descend to 3,000 feet. Reduce thrust to idle and gently push forward on the stick to take us down. Pitch to about 7 degrees nose down to maintain 210 knots as we descend.
Orbit 526, reduce speed to 180 knots.
Slowing to 180, orbit 526. Okay, now reduce thrust a bit to slow to 180 knots. Pull back on the stick a bit to keep the nose from dropping. Maintain 3,000 feet as you slow down. Okay, level off here at 3,000 feet and bring the thrust back up to about 50% N1 to maintain 210 knots.
Orbit 526, turn left heading 230, vectors for the visual approach runway 23, report the runway in sight.
Left to 230, looking for the runway, orbit 526. Here we go. Turn left to 230 degrees. We should see the runway straight ahead once we roll out. Okay, I see the runway. Approach, orbit 526 has the runway in sight.
Orbit 526, cleared visual approach runway 23.
Cleared for the visual, orbit 526. Reduce thrust to idle and begin descending towards the runway. Lower the landing gear by pressing G and lower full flaps as we slow down. Press F7 3 times. In a large aircraft like this, the speed you land at changes depending on how heavy you are. At our current weight, our final approach speed will be 130 knots. Adjust thrust to maintain 130 knots as we descend toward the runway.
Orbit 526, contact tower on 118.8.
Switching to tower now, orbit 526. Thanks. Glasgow Tower, orbit 526 with you on the visual approach for runway 23.
Orbit 526, Glasgow Tower, you're number 1. Clear to land, runway 23. Wind calm.
Clear to land, orbit 526. We're cleared to land, so let's run through the before landing checklist. It's a short one. Landing gear, down. Flaps, set to 45 degrees. Landing checklist complete. Continue descending. Once we're about 50 feet over the runway, reduce thrust to idle and pull back on the stick slightly to touch down on the main wheels first. Then slowly lower the nose. Press F7 twice to lower the flaps to 8 degrees. The flaps will slow us down, so bring the thrust back up to about 60% N1 so we maintain 180 knots.